Hello, hello. We are continuing this game. Oh, there's fireworks going on. I don't think the mic picks it up, but man, it's not even July 4th yet. But we are continuing to read everyone's tragic fucking letters and trying to help them. Yeah, it's gonna be a little shorter stream, like at most an hour, because I have work again tomorrow. I'm actually feeling like a lot more energized the last couple days. I don't know why, even though I'm still going to work. Maybe it's my day off yesterday. Maybe the day off yesterday helped me like recover emotionally and physically. But yeah, random like story time from work today. So I work in a pharmacy, and I had to like call a patient to like ask them about oh, there's the fireworks again. I had to call a patient because they were overdue for one of their like blood pressure medications. And then when they answered, they asked if there was someone who could speak Spanish. And I took 3 years of Spanish in middle school, and nobody else in the pharmacy speaks Spanish. So I just tried my best with a little bit of Google Translate and my limited education. But then the thing was, the person responded to me in perfect English. So I don't know why they wanted me to speak Spanish when they could speak English like perfectly well. Usually it's like the opposite, right? Usually like, well, I mean, I guess that's for like native speakers. Like, you know how like some people who like grow up with like two languages, like for example, if I'm Filipino, so some like I don't, but like for example, okay, I'm not explaining this well, but some people, some like immigrants, Filipinos for example, they might be able to understand Tagalog pretty well, but then they struggle with speaking it. So I'm trying to think of like me learning Spanish and me learning Japanese, and I think it's like it's harder to respond, isn't it? It's harder to talk in the other language versus like listening and understanding it. So I'm still I don't know why this guy couldn't understand me in English, but then could speak it like perfectly. Anyways, I just thought it was funny and it was really weird. But that's my little story time for the day. We're gonna continue the game. I don't know. I do kind of want to finish it, but I'm getting kind of tired of streaming it at the same time, because I'm like, what's happening? I don't know. Everything's continuing. Everyone in their depressing AF stories. Okay, Jimmy, what are you doing? What is Jimmy up to today? Okay. In the largest arcade of Bangkok, Time Reversal Cup, the Prince of Fighters 97 Nostalgia Tournament. A giant banner was on display. The Time Reversal Cup had been the biggest tournament for classic fighting games in Hong Kong for a few years. It had also been an important source of income in my post-college independent life. Oh, Jimmy's in college now. He has a new sprite. After graduating from college last year, I had moved out of my parents' house and rented a 30 square meter studio with a standalone bathroom. That sounds pretty big, doesn't it? This rich fucking kid. Okay. I never knew that rent could be so expensive. I never understood how people would want to buy stuff on sale. I never realized that part-time jobs really paid anything. He is getting hit with reality. Not until I lost the financial support from my father and mother did I begin to appreciate the challenges of life. Oh, Jimmy. Therefore, I must win the tournament. The prize money for winning the championship would be enough to cover my expenses for 3 months. I had arrived not too long ago, and I had been testing my machine. People were beginning to gather around, many of whom kept taking pictures with their phones. As a 2-time defending champion, I had been placed directly in the semifinals, so I was expecting a little attention. Hold on. I forgot to lower the music. Boop. Okay. Okay. However, today I was feeling very suspicious about every one of these people. I was about to go and hide in the bathroom for a little while before the match. Suddenly, a wave of excitement washed over the crowd. A small kid had just walked up to the machine opposite mine. He was in his school uniform, wearing a pair of glasses, and his hair was parted to the left side. The staff thought we didn't know each other and started making introductions. This is the primary school killer. You must have heard of him. He has no more rivals left in the Tsimshatsui area. Last week he challenged the entire North Key arcade. Nobody dared even say a word. I never thought that he would be my opponent today. I silently cursed all the gods and goddesses in my head, and then the punk kid held his thumbs down and made a face at me. The crowd booed loudly. The booing went right into my head, along with the history of our rivalry. Now watch out, you punk. Big Brother's gonna teach you a lesson for the sake of your parents. Let me show you how to be polite and respectful to your senior. Mayogami versus his Kosanagi, 2 games out of 3. In all honesty, our raw skills are mostly on the same level. But every time I play this kid, he would always be able to get into my head and mess up my inputs. I'd be thinking of a punch, but press a kick. Oh my god. I was trashed in the first game, and I tried my damned best to win the second game. Here came the deciding game. The crowd had become wild. Time to go to hell, you little punk. Punk, hell, okay. He is cursing at a child. At this point, both of our HP gauges were alarmingly low. Our special moves were both fully charged and ready to go as well. If either of us made a mistake right now, the other would immediately land a combo and finish the game. I slightly wiggled my sweating right hand and feigned a retreat. The punk kid took the bait, his punch whipped. Now's my chance. I commanded Yogami to jump behind him, ready to unleash the final combo. Geshiki Yori Yori, 2B, 5A. What the fuck? What? After 2 consecutive Akai Hana, my opponent had just been thrown into midair. It was finally time to end this game with a desperation move. Okay. Ghostly purple flames appeared in Nogami's hands, light pillars were bursting from the ground one after another. Desperation move. Ura 108 Shiki Yo Sakazuki. Oh crap, that was the wrong move. It was an amazing move that could stun the opponent, but its only drawback was that it was also slow. Kosanagi quickly air-attacked away from the pillars, nullifying my attack. Oh shit. The punk kid smiled behind his glasses. Kosanagi jumped on top of me and hit me right in the face. I was still in recovery from the previous move, so I couldn't defend myself. Kosanagi then kicked me into the air. Raging fire erupted in his right hand as he held it high. It then turned into a devouring firebomb while I was staring in shock. It blew Yogami into the sky. KO. As Yogami kept flying upwards on the screen, my heart was sinking all the way into the ground. I lost. My prize. Gone. I had to borrow money from my father to cover the rent this month. He would once again try to persuade me to go and work at his company. Mother would then try to set me up on a blind date, forcing me to meet people who I had absolutely no interest in. Yet I would have to pretend to smile the whole time. No, my dear goddess of fortune, please take me away from here. Jimmy. Jimmy is just, like... I don't even know how to deal with him. Like, there's so many, like, tragic letters, and then there's Jimmy who's losing to a child. I don't know. he's just the comedic joke. Okay. I just have to deal with these. I don't even know what's the right move, though. Are these different? What if I swap these? I swear I just have to guess, because how am I supposed to know? Okay. His attack spewed with every lost drop of his power, washed over his opponent like an unstoppable waterfall. Kosanagi couldn't even hold his posture anymore. Desperation move. KO. Yes! 3 months of expensive. See how it's done, you little punk? Oh, okay. I was lucky. After the ceremony, I was about to duck out of the arcade quietly when the punk kid suddenly blocked my way. What? You want to look for a real fight now? Don't you know my fame of beating up both a senior home and a kindergarten in the same day? I quietly thought to myself. Congratulations, mister. I bought you this newspaper as a special gift to you. I took the newspaper, some random tabloid. Cover page headline. Despicable. Hong Kong youth molest child in the street? What the hell was this? Several months ago, I had beaten up the little punk primary school killer and pretty badly in another casual tournament. Then a few days later, an article began circulating on the internet about me taking off my pants in the street and mooning some little kid. Wow, there was even a picture to go with it. Yet whether you judged it by the shape or by the percentage of body fat, that was not my butt in the picture. And the funny thing is, when I tried to remove the censor boxes from the picture through some technical magic, I realized that the kid in the picture was exactly this little punk. When had I ever taken a picture with him? Besides, what kind of twisted mind would make up such a gross and embarrassing idea in the first place, not to mention actually going through the trouble of making a picture? Okay, you know what, let's speed up the kid. Afterwards, I had to hack a dozen websites to delete all of the related articles, and now you had it printed on paper? I didn't know who was more despicable in this whole ordeal. In any case, the more despicable the story was, the faster it traveled. People would always believe this kind of garbage. People in the grade were starting to stare at me. I knew they had not just come here for the tournament today. What? Did you expect me to tear the paper into pieces and make a scene? Screw you, you little punk. I stuffed the newspaper into the bag with my prize and walked out of the arcade. It was drizzling outside. Life is Good was playing in my headphones. I decided to not take a cab and just walk back to the apartment. I bumped into a few people, but nobody gave me any trouble or even a second look. Yeah, why bother myself with other people's opinions? This was my life, the one that I always wanted. Okay, I'm happy for you. But yeah, piece of shit fucking kid. If you ever actually get like sexually assaulted, no one's gonna fucking believe you, okay? That's why you don't do that. Because it's a serious issue. You're not supposed to like use it as like revenge. Anyways, a little tangent. What's next? Alicia. 2 p.m. The 32nd floor of the Shanglong Court building. The women's restroom. I pressed the button on my phone and timed to the movement of the hands on my watch. Almost immediately, I heard a muffled boom from the bottom of the building. The entire building shook slightly for a few seconds and made a subtle grinding sound. I heard the latest instructions coming from the building's security team leader on the radio, broadcast through their dedicated security channel. He wanted 2 guards on the top floor and the rest on the ground floor. I turned off the radio and walked out of the bathroom in a janitor's uniform. I blended into a crowd of panicking and confused salarymen. Then I ducked into the security stairwell and went up to the 33rd floor, the highest floor of the building, which was reserved exclusively for the chief executives of the corporation. I reached for the knife hidden at my waist. I planned to ambush the 2 guards before they noticed me. However, there was no one in the hallway. I opened the door to the president's office. There was no one there either. I began to scour through the office. When I opened the closet, a body rolled out from inside. The door was kicked open. I took 2 steps back, then sprinted forward and burst through the window. My girl's a badass, dude. I held onto the rope with my right hand and descended all the way to the ground on the other side of the building. A couple of people had seen me while I was dropping down and let out some admiring and terrified gasps. But their attention was soon pulled away by the explosion from the top floor. The body in the closet had been my target tonight. The president of Shanglong Corp, Lang Xiaolibit. Someone had gotten to him before I could. What I couldn't understand, though, was why a bomb was tied to his body. It was the kind of bomb that would detonate upon disturbance or when the timer ran out. It was much more powerful than the one I had made. I can only think of one reason. The other assassin had known that someone else was after the same target, so it had been a prank. In fact, my mission tonight was more than just killing Liang. There was something else. I was supposed to retrieve a black metal box that he had. I had no idea what was inside the box, but it must be something extremely important. However, I was afraid that the box had fallen into the hands of the other assassin too. Who could this person be? Had he known that Ray had also been looking for the same box? Was the prank specifically designed for me? Pain from my left arm interrupted my thought. Only then did I realize that my left arm had been blown into pieces. My left palm had completely disappeared. You just noticed? No! Okay, let's help her with that after we look at this guy. Lieutenant Kang was not here, and neither was Officer Minjun nor Officer Jian. I was alone in the office working on the suspect's statements and feeling a little lonely. The lieutenant had told me to make him pay. Officer Jian had said to me that Lieutenant Kang used to tamper with the amount of goods and monies when dealing with smuggling cases, so that the criminals would get a heavier sentence. Oh, okay. But this guy was already an accomplice to a murder. How could I make the case worse? I didn't know what to do. I was scratching my head when the phone on the lieutenant's desk rang. It was an anonymous tip to a murder. However, Unit 4 usually handled cases related to gang violence or drugs. Why would I get a tip about a murder? I wasn't sure how to deal with the situation, although I didn't have much at hand to deal with right now anyway. My heart of justice was beating with excitement. I grabbed my gun and walked out. I was about to take the stairs when I heard someone yelling loudly behind me. I turned around. It was Lieutenant Kim Jong-ho of Unit 3. Lieutenant Kim asked if I was heading to the murder scene reported by the anonymous tip earlier. He said I should not go alone, that he was coming along with me so that we could look after each other. Excuse me, I burped. Okay. 20 minutes later, we arrived at the apartment building of the scene. It was a 2-floor rental building. I could vaguely see fire through the windows of one apartment in the middle of the 2nd floor. Something wasn't right. Anybody home? I knocked on the door. There was no response. I knocked even harder and yelled some more, but still nothing. Lieutenant Kim stopped me and said we should just wait for the apartment manager to open the door for us. The whole apartment had been engulfed in fire. When the manager turned the key and touched the doorknob, he suddenly jumped back like he had been shot. I stepped ahead and grabbed the knob. It felt like a soldering iron burning my palm. Well, no shit. I bit my own lips to stop myself from screaming. As soon as I forced the door open, flames leapt out of the apartment along with a wave of heat. I could almost smell my hair getting burnt. Lieutenant Kim and I had to take a few steps back. If the tips had been true, there might still be people inside. I took a step to the door, but Lieutenant Kim grabbed me. That is like not within your jurisdiction. You should let the firefighters handle that, dude. Are you crazy? Look at the fire. You'll be burnt to ashes. You've been here for over 20 minutes. Whoever might still be in there is already dead. You made a good point. We waited until the firefighters put out the fire before we went into the apartment. Everything inside had been scorched. All of the furniture had been incinerated. We found 2 bodies that were completely unrecognizable due to fire, one in the bathroom, the other in the living room. We had to send them back for autopsies. We didn't learn the identities of the bodies until the next day. I could not have imagined that they were... Oh my god, wait, what? Officer Minjin and Lieutenant King? I should have charged an aside. I could have saved them. What the hell? Okay. Okay. So, in this case, I don't know how to help Alicia because it says the issue is that someone had gotten to him before. So maybe we get rid of the body. Okay. Kick open the door. It's on fire. Maybe. Let's see. I recognized the man lying on the floor. Officer Minton's eyes were wide open. There was a dark brown stain near his chest on his dark-colored shirt. The blood had already dried. Oh no. Judging from the amount of blood and the shape of it, it must be a gunshot wound. The fire was getting worse in the living room. I covered my nose while looking around, but I could barely see anything anymore. The flames were now licking the clothes and Officer Minton's body. I couldn't just leave him here. I carried his body out of the fire and handed it over to Lieutenant Kim, who had been waiting at the door. The fire had become too big for us to go back inside. We had to wait for reinforcements from the firefighters. No, but Lieutenant King! We waited until the firefighters put out the fire before we went into the apartment again. No! Damn. Okay. I held onto the rope with my right hand and descended all the way to the ground from the outside of the building. A couple of people had seen me while I was chopping down and let out some admiring, terrified gasps, but their attention was soon pulled away by the explosion from the top floor. Okay, my target had not been in the room. It was only part of the mission. I had an even more important task, which was to find that black metal box. Unfortunately, I couldn't find the box either. I spent a long time searching for it. He must have hidden it somewhere that wasn't in plain sight. Okay. So that didn't work. Can I get rid of the fire? Is this like important? I don't know. Okay, my kung fu instincts from my Shaolin training were telling me that I should not stay here any longer and that I needed to get out as soon as possible. Accompanied by the sound of shattering glass, I landed on the ground steadily. Then I saw 2 cars stopping in front of the apartment building. Every person coming out of the cars was an officer from Unit 3. The image of Officer Minjin lying there with his eyes wide open was still imprinted in my mind. How did he die? Why was he there? Why would Unit 3 show up right now? And what about that suspicious anonymous tip? There were too many puzzles that I wanted to discuss with Lieutenant King when I saw him. Never would I have ever guessed the next day I would learn an even more shocking piece of news. The lieutenant had died too. And they put out a warrant for me saying that I had become a fugitive. This case that had so many ties to Unit 4 had turned into a wild horse charging down a freeway. I had no longer had any control over the situation. Perhaps I should not have just run away. Maybe things would have been different if I had just stayed. What the fuck? Okay, whatever. I got lucky. I accidentally found the metal box that Ray had asked me to find when I dropped down to the floor to get away from the heavy smoke. Okay, so the fire is important. It had been glued to the bottom of the couch. After leaving the office, I ducked into the security stairwell again. There was almost nobody in it. No, she needs to escape. I was wearing a janitor's uniform and calmly started walking down from the 33rd floor. I got down to the 5th floor. 4 security guards, followed by someone in a doctor's coat, walked past me and climbed up the stairs. The person in the coat looked a little familiar, so I turned my head and took another glance at him. Then I realized he was looking at me too, and then I remembered he was a doctor summoned to check up on me at Money Gia's mansion. Money Gia's entire household had been wiped out, and everyone in the underground world knew that the Black Dragon King had done it. Yet nobody dared to say a word about it. After all, Money Gia was merely a money man who had no other connections or support. Nobody knew that there had been any survivors from the unfortunate accident, but if anybody were to survive, that person must be deeply involved with the Black Dragon Gang. If the doctor had recognized me and told anyone about my presence, Shenlong Corp would be able to connect the gang to their boss's death. Ray would be in serious trouble. We were getting further away from each other, one step at a time, and this uneasy feeling kept dripping from my heart like a leaking water tap, one drop at a time. I made up my mind just before they were about to disappear at the corner of the stairs. My dagger cut through the air like a silver lightning bolt and went through the doctor's throat. In the next seconds, 4 bullets left the silencer of my gun and took out the others in the stairwell. Damn, girl. I gave the doctor who had saved my life one last look. He was lying on the stairs with his left hand over his chest. I never learned what his name was, and I would never have a chance to ask him. I closed my eyes, shook my head, and turned around. It was too late when I suddenly realized something had just touched my back. A cold, familiar, strange sensation kept pushing forward through my skin, through the gaps between my back ribs, through my heart, and finally through the gaps between my front ribs and my skin in front. My dagger had missed the artery by just a little. A tiny bit of mercy that remained in my heart turned out to be my fatal mistake. I watched as the box dropped out of my arm and fell down the stairs, clanking the whole way down. I reached out, attempting to catch it, but I couldn't. That's a rank B ending? Okay. So she needs to burst through the window. The fire is important. What if I... Wait, hold on. Did I do that already? There's a lot of bad endings here. Hold on. Sorry, my mom just wanted to chat. What did we... Oh, this one's just the fire. Oh no, this is the original one. So I just tried this one and this one. So maybe I do this one And then let's see what happens if I reorder it. There's a lot of bad endings. I recognize the man lying on the floor. I think we went over this. Before I could check any further, the officers from Unit 3 who had followed us here had pushed me aside and started examining the body themselves and taking notes. It was a little strange. I was the one who had received the tip in the first place, but the scene had now been overrun by Unit 3. Sus. Soon the CSI unit arrived too. I still couldn't quite accept Officer Minjin's death, as the guys from Unit 3 would let me near the body. I had no choice but to wander around the living room. When I walked past a dresser in the living room, I noticed a knocked-over picture frame. I flipped it over. It was a photo of Lieutenant King with a woman in her 30s. Hey, you don't touch anything. Yes, you. The men from Unit 3 kicked me out of the apartment. I had to stand by the door and watch them carry Officer Minjin's body away in a body bag. That's sus. Even more bizarrely, they had found Lieutenant King passed out in the bathroom due to apparent alcohol poisoning. I only found out later that the place had been Lieutenant King's apartment. Okay, so that one I got rid of the fire. I think it's closer though. I held onto the rope with my right hand and descended all the way to the ground from outside the building. Okay, she got the box. Okay. The guards broke into the office after I had escaped through the window. I could hear them directing their whole team to go after me, but it was already too late. I started my motorcycle and went to full throttle. Okay, so this is good. Ray opened the box in front of me. Inside of the box were 2 cubes the size of my palm with different markings on them. Ray gave me a reward after he made sure the items were intact. After that day, I had a dragon tattoo put on my stomach. Ray said that I had earned that mark as evidence that I had truly become his. Okay, so there is something wrong. The door was kicked open. Right? Because I did this already. The door was kicked open and then the body rolled outside. Oh, you know what? This one. Because the door is kicked open applied to the Unit 3. Ah, okay, never mind. Okay. So what about this one? I looked around the living room. A lot of empty beer bottles were scattered on the floor, most of which were empty. Some of them were not empty though, and the beer had spilled all over the place. There was still a lot of burning candles on the floor too. Lieutenant King is packed house over here. I heard Lieutenant Kim's voice coming from the bathroom. Lieutenant King? Why was he here too? I got up back up and walked to the bathroom. When I walked past the dresser in the living room, I noticed a knocked over picture frame. I flipped it over. It was a photo of Lieutenant King with a woman in her 30s. Lieutenant King looked much younger in the photo. He even seemed a little shy. Both of them were in uniform with their guns holstered. I couldn't look away from the woman in the photo for a long time. Then I finally remembered. She had been the previous lieutenant of Unit 2, Diego Sok, a legendary figure in the Busan police precinct. She was a beautiful woman, but more importantly, she was considered to be better than any of the male officers on the force. She was famous for being incredibly courageous and decisive. She was the idol of almost every young police officer. During my days in the academy, a lot of my classmates had her photos in their private collections. Okay, I guess. That was how I had recognized her. The photo obviously had been taken before she had been killed in the line of duty. Lieutenant King looked like he had just joined the police too. Perhaps he was a fan of hers too. There's nothing strange about that. So this might be Lieutenant King's home. A fan, but there's like a framed picture in his apartment. Why would Minjin's body be here then? I suddenly remembered the anonymous was tipped, and I was starting to get more and more suspicious. Officer Minjin had been shot. He was still in his undercover outfit, which I had seen a few times. I went back to check on his body, and there was nothing else in his pockets, but I did notice a keychain attached to his waist. I heard Lieutenant Kim walking over from the bathroom. He must be wondering why I hadn't responded yet. I quickly took the keychain off and hid it. Please, Buddha, please bless me. Bless me so that I can find the truth and avenge Officer Minjin. Okay, so I'm struggling. So, this is the rank S. I might just need to reorder hers, huh? But then the issue with this one was they had broken into the office. But like, it's wrong if I do this, right? Yeah. Oops, what did I do? No, that's not what I wanted. Okay. So this is actually the same thing. So it's a problem that it's on this side. Oh, okay. I just needed to put it after so that they couldn't get her. Okay. Okay, easy. Bitch, who the hell? Who the hell is this? Oh, it was just a nightmare. No, it was more than that. Everything has already happened in reality. But I've tried everything I could. I thought it was raining, however everything outside looks exactly the same as when I first woke up after losing my memories. The sky is still red. Snow keeps falling down. Even the snow looks red, perhaps because of the light. There doesn't seem to be anybody in the buildings on either side of the street. And there aren't any people on the street. There aren't any animals either, no small birds or little dogs, nothing. There aren't even any trees or grass. The rain only appears in my dreams. It has never stopped snowing outside the window. Is this what the God's world looks like? I wonder what the human's world looks like right now. Yo, you're up early. What time is it now? 4 o'clock in the morning. It's only 4? Nothing seems to change outside the window. I can't even tell whether it's morning or not. The human's world has day and night, right? Why don't we have that? That's because we live in a different world. Millie, I want to go for a walk outside. I'm afraid you can't do that. Why not? To us, there is no outside. Everything you see from the window is just an illusion. This house is all there is to our world. Are you telling me that everything that I see out there at the window is fake? That's correct. Everything outside is fake. Even the house that we are living in right now doesn't really exist. All of this is built by our combined imagination. Our world and the human's world have no intersections at all, not in time nor in space. Well, could we go to their world at all? By teleportation, for example, like you did earlier? Or maybe there is a door of some kind that could open to any other place you want to go? Why do you want to go to their world so much? I haven't been feeling too well recently. This job, it's not like what I first imagined it would be. I thought I could give everyone a perfect happy ending, but tragedies keep happening one after another. I don't know what I've done wrong. Do I not understand them well enough because I'm not human? Or is it because I'm not familiar enough with their world, so I can't understand the consequences of my decisions? So you want to go there and witness their lives for yourself? Yes. Unfortunately, we are unable to go to their world. Besides, we don't really need to. We're gods. All we need to do is fulfill the humans' wishes. It is not our duty to create a wonderful world based on our judgment. You have too much kindness in you, and that's why you are overthinking it. No matter what decisions you make, the humans will accept them. Simply because they don't have other options. But we're gods. How can we be so careless about their sincere wishes? Psst. Humans never truly understand what they want, ever. They get themselves into trouble, but they are afraid to take responsibility for their actions and choices. That's why they always hope the gods can fix everything for them. God will help me. God will bless me. They are nothing but a bunch of cowards and losers. As long as we help them resolve their immediate dilemmas, we have done our job. As for the other problems that lie in their future, those have nothing to do with us. The bottom line is this: even if we don't help them at all, they have no right to complain. After all, we are gods and they are just mere humans. Therefore, no matter what you do, you're always right. You will never be wrong. But I understand it might be a little difficult for you to accept this right now. You should just go take a nap and get some rest. We've talked enough today. I'll go make us some breakfast. Was I really overthinking things? Well, maybe I have to do it myself. Do what yourself? Bro, that was kind of heavy. Like, for real, for real? I was thinking that she's just a silly little girl, but like, all these letters must actually be getting to her. And she's right about, like, even though we're fulfilling their wishes, tragedies continue to happen regardless. Huh. Alright. There's 3 letters today. Oh, okay.
젠장, 어떻게 이럴 수가?
A plain god, right? Okay. What about this one?
No puedo regresar.
An 18-year-old boy. How's Carlos doing? It's been a long time since I've seen Carlos. Alright. I think we can probably do one more round. I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm so like like you guys, it's heavy. I just kind of I think I'm most curious about Liwen actually. I'm like maybe we can stop what's happening there. Do I want I don't wanna. This kid is so tragic. Let's go for Alicia first. It looks like these are all isolated letters. A flight from Hong Kong to Tokyo. This is my first time on a plane, yet I wasn't as excited as I had imagined I would be. I closed my eyes hoping that I could fall asleep until landing. After a while, the plane encountered some turbulence. My face tightened a little, not because I was scared, but because I was annoyed that it had disrupted my dream. Okay. I was dreaming of Carlos. In the dream, we finally got to see each other again. It was late at night. Even though we had not seen each other for such a long time, neither of us said anything. It was so dark that I couldn't even see what he looked like as a grown-up. His lips moved and he was about to say something, but suddenly the ground beneath us morphed into an enormous wave and swept me away. I opened my eyes. The boy next to me handed me one of his earbuds. He probably thought I was afraid. Some tender music was flowing out of the earbud. I smiled at him with gratitude. He had short and curly dark hair. Looked like he was about 18 years old. Carlos would be around the same age round. I fell asleep again, although I didn't go back to the same dream this time. Oh dear, hold on. Sorry, my dog just like randomly wheezes sometimes and it scares me. Okay, 4 hours later. At the front desk of the Prince Hotel in Shinjuku. I was checking in. Coincidentally, I ran into the boy who was next to me on the plane. Oh my god, excuse me, I need to burp. Okay. Also coincidentally, his room was right next to mine. Okay. He said his name was Lin Wei. He was here on a trip by himself and suggested that we could travel together if it was okay with me. I agreed, but it would have to wait until after I finished my business here. The sun was about to set when he knocked on my door. He told me that he had rented a car and asked if I would like to go take a ride with him along the beach. I don't know, I'm just like, I would be sus as hell, you know? I said yes. Girl, his eyes were a little red and we didn't say anything to each other on their way. He didn't go directly to the beach. Instead, he circled around Shinjuku a couple of times at first. If he weren't so upset, I would have almost suspected that he had figured out who I really was. I never knew that the target this time was still a kid. Half an hour ago, I received an instruction from Ray. The target this time was the person staying in the room next to mine. Oh. Lin Wei. He was the only child of the boss of Lin Incorporated who ran the Black Dragon Gang. Whenever Ray gave me an assignment, I never questioned the reason, although this time I didn't really need to ask. The big boss of Lin Incorporated was in his final years. Some elders in the corporation had brought up the idea of looking for a successor. Obviously, the big boss wanted his own son to succeed him, and everyone knew it. But I knew Ray too well. He wanted to be the successor. The gang had plenty of enemies in the criminal underworld. This time, Lin Wei was traveling to Japan alone without any bodyguards. It meant that this would be the perfect opportunity for Ray to take him out of the equation. It was quite windy by the ocean. There were a couple of tourists hanging around on the beach. I planned to complete the assignment once they left. Lin Wei stood there facing the ocean. He closed his eyes and spread his arms. He looked like a bird who was about to ride the wind and fly into the sky. Miss, have you ever thought about what we live for in this world? I fixed my hair that was flying in the wind. For me, simply being able to live is good enough. I never thought about something so deep. Lin Wei kept his posture. Well, do you have an important person in your life? I do. I looked at the ocean. He put his arms down. What would you do if you couldn't be with that person? I'd wait. He looked back to me. His face was covered in tears. What if you know that you'll only be waiting for nothing? I suddenly realized that I had never thought about this possibility. Miss, I know what you're doing here. I have seen many other people like you. Lin Wei unbuttoned his shirt and revealed the numerous horrifying scars on his body. In 2 years, my father will hand the company to me. Miss, you of all people should know how many people want me dead. All of these years, my only wish has been to be with that person on my birthday. I was born in the winter near Christmas. I would always dream about the two of us decorating our own Christmas tree, walking along the festive streets and holding hands like a real couple. But year after year, I could never make it happen, and I will never be able to make it happen in the future. I will not let the person I love get hurt because of me, so I can't be with that person, not in this life. Oh, I'm tired of a life like this. The last tourist just left the beach. He gave me one last smile and started walking into the ocean. The water gradually went over his waist, his shoulder. A few minutes later, I dived into the ocean. I grabbed his hand. I gasped for the salt-tasting air, feeling like I was going to be swallowed by the crushing waves at the very next moment. I lay there on the beach. I was completely wet. Linway was lying next to me. Why didn't you just let me die? Isn't that your mission? Why? I didn't know. Perhaps I was hoping there would be another possibility for him. It had been 10 days. I still didn't have a strategy to help him. Although I worked away, I didn't really have all the information. I didn't really have all of the information in the organization. Even in the gang, not a lot of people were aware of my existence. Therefore, I didn't have any useful connections. Oh, my girl. I was sitting on the couch in my room. A bunch of empty candy boxes were piling up next to my hand. Linway must be an extremely important target to Ray. Letting Lin go meant that I had betrayed him. I might have made the stupidest decision of my life just out of that one moment of sympathy. I heard footsteps in the hallway outside. The person was intentionally keeping them light, so I knew instantly that it couldn't be a regular tenant. My 4 years of training told me immediately that it was someone like me, and he or she was good at this job too. Ray certainly wouldn't show me any mercy. Ah. So we let the boy kill himself. Easy. Okay, let me think about this so I don't just go through multiple endings. So I have to let him die. Yeah, I was wondering why she saved him. I would, if she cared about self-preservation, then she would have just let him go. But man, that's kind of sad. I don't know. Let's try that. Oh, did I do it? The hairdryer was buzzing. I was sitting in my hotel room drying my hair with my eyes closed. I was afraid. I was afraid that I would see myself in the foggy mirror and that I wouldn't even recognize my own reflection. In the dark water, I watched Linway as he struggled to breathe. I felt his grip on my hand tighten and loosen. After confirming his death, I came back up to the beach at a different spot and took a taxi back to the hotel. It was just another assignment. Even if he had lived a hard life, even if he had reminded me of someone, there was nothing else I could have done to help him. But it was just another excuse. The truth was, I simply couldn't stand the thought of leaving Ray. That same evening, I told Ray about Linway's final moments, but his response surprised me. Starting from tomorrow, you are free. Wait, really? Is that a joke? What do you... For real, for real? Wow, I one-shot that though. Actually? Usually it takes me at least one try. But my neurons are kicking in. I guess. Yeah, I don't know how my logic worked out there. I really don't want to... Listen, I'm so sorry, child, but man, I really don't want to read his letter. Oh dear, there's another letter here. Oh, the girl.
Lo siento.
I guess I'm so invested in the girls in the story, actually. And there's only 2 of them. Alicia's so cool, and Li Wen is a little cutie. My child. Jeez. I meant to click Jimmy, actually. Hold on. Yep, he's older. Would you look at that? Unverified rumors about molesting boys in the street. Bro. Well... Yeah. Anyways. And then she got a glow up, but she's in, okay, let's check on the girly. I opened my eyes. I saw a white ceiling. I saw white walls. I saw white blankets. Oh yeah. So yeah, we gave the teacher stomach cancer instead of Leewin, I guess. And I could smell the strong odor of detergent. How did I end up in the hospital? It was very late. There was no one in the hallway. I found the nurse station and asked him a record. It said I had gastritis. I never knew gastritis could make someone pass out. This stupid girl ate like I don't know, disgusting fucking yogurt because she didn't want to go to art class. Like, honey, don't do that. The nurse told me that I was mostly fine. I just needed to take my medication for a couple more days, but it was already too late to be discharged today, so I'd have to wait until tomorrow. She also mentioned that it was a middle-aged man who had brought me in. A middle-aged man. Could it be him? Probably not. There are plenty of middle-aged men out there. Okay, but like, why? Since I was mostly fine, I decided to go home anyway. I couldn't stand the sight of the hospital for one more minute. I had too many bad memories of being in a hospital. Oh. A young man was standing at the hospital entrance looking down at the ground. Maybe he was feeling down because a family member had been sick too. I walked towards the subway station. At the last crossing, the lights had just turned from green to red. I saw two peepings sitting next to the window in the coffee house across the street, two very familiar people, Miss Yang and him. I stepped forward without even realizing it. I had forgotten about the red light. Oh my god. A truck charged directly at me from the side. Its headlights had blinded me. My entire body was swallowed by the light. The truck didn't stop. After hitting me, I'd been left lying in the street when someone found me. It happened to be the same young man who had been standing in front of the hospital earlier. I was brought back to the hospital, but this time I wasn't mostly fine. I probably would not survive the night. I realized that I had so many regrets. Why couldn't I tell him how I truly felt? No, why would I always have to be torn apart from the most important people in my life? Why do you have a crush on him? Okay, whatever. Dude, this girl gets stomach cancer from like disgusting expired yogurt, and then she gets hit by a truck. I don't know what to do with her. 9 a.m. It was the least busy hour of the day in the coffee shop. I was wiping the glass carefully with a cleaning cloth. Mama, who loved and she came back, who loved and happily shared his feminine side, was sitting next to the bar and perusing a woman's fashion magazine while occasionally letting out a yawn. There was also a customer in a strange hat that had been here since we opened this morning. I can't believe Ray just like let her go. I'm like, huh. Maybe it's cause like, you know, she completed the final mission. He put out his 8th cigarette in the ashtray and put down an Exult magazine that he had brought with him, left his booth, and went into the guest restroom. Okay, there was no one else in the shop but the three of us. I left Ray half a month ago. I didn't know where else to go, so I came back to Maple House. It still had the same decorations, but not the same people. Raj had gone back to India. Hang had become a legal resident and got married. Yippee! What happened to Jack? On my first day back, I told Mama everything about being auctioned off and abused, but I left out everything related to Ray. Mama was crying so hard that his entire face was wet. He hugged me so tight and told me of course I could come back and I could stay here for as long as I wanted to. I tried to get back to a normal life. I wanted to save up a little more money so that I could bring Carlos over to live with me. Ring ring! A middle-aged man with a thick beard had just walked in. I was carrying a glass pitcher of water when I accidentally bumped into him at the door. Water spilled everywhere. I caught the pitcher 20 centimeters off the ground before it got smashed to pieces. Oh. He was carrying an umbrella with a long handle. It was raining heavily outside. My clothes were soaking wet. Water had spilled onto my clothes. The black dragon tattoo in my stomach became vaguely visible through my wet shirt. I apologized and turned around to go to the back room so that I could change into another shirt. I'm in a hurry. I heard something else hidden inside his 4 short words. It was an extremely familiar sense of menace. Then I noticed his umbrella out of the corner of my eyes. I didn't suspect anything earlier because of the rain, but now I realized that his umbrella was completely dry. I ducked down and sprinted to the kitchen. Multiple deafening gunshots roared up behind me. The meticulously painted walls were littered with holes from the shotgun. I dragged Mama into the kitchen. His fake eyelashes had fallen off. There was nothing but a bloody hole where his left eyeball. No, my God! His and my blood were spreading all over the kitchen floor. Suddenly I heard a flush come from the restroom outside, nothing else. He was so confident that he wouldn't even bother coming in to make sure that we were dead. The bearded man must be coming after me. He couldn't be here for any other reason but revenge. I had made a mistake. I should not have come back. I should not have expected to lead a normal life. My mind was becoming cloudy. Mama, I'm so sorry, it was my fault. Tragedy after tragedy, for real, for real. Okay. So we have to stop. Oh my God, okay. Anyways, the girlies are dying. Oh my God, okay. Isn't it raining here too, or no? No, it's not raining. What if I just swap it? Okay, let's get rid of the clothes we're soaking wet. Okay, no, it's wrong. I apologized to the guest who had just come in, showed him to a booth, and poured him a cup of coffee. Then I went back to the door and started cleaning the wet floor. I then heard a flush come from the restroom. The guest with the hat walked out. He walked past the new guest booth and went back to his own. He took a night cigarette out of his pack and put it into his mouth. Then I noticed a flame pop up near the end of the cigarette. I walked over with the carafe, leaned over, and refilled his mug. I whispered into his ear, "Excuse me, but this is a non-smoking establishment. If he were a fellow hitman, he would have understood." The guest with the hat heard my words, nodded gently, and put the cigarette back into the pack. The menace that had been brewing in the air suddenly dissipated. It wasn't a regular cigarette, there were probably some elaborate mechanisms inside. I myself had never used gadgets that were too complicated. I did sometimes hear that some fellow workers in my field would often use some unusual murder weapons I had never even heard of. He probably wasn't here for me, but if he insisted upon messing up the shop, the dagger under my skirt would have to stop him. The bearded man put down some cash on the table and left. Soon the guest with the hat gathered his cigarette pack and adult magazine, gave me a nod, and left too. I soon noticed that I was being followed for the next few days. There was more than one tail on me, and none of them was just some random slob. I couldn't tell if it had anything to do with the guest from that day. I asked Mama for some time off and decided to stay out of sight alone for a while. At the very least, I could not bring Mama into this. I feel like nothing bad happened. Oh. The cigarette? Okay. Nothing changed with the girl. Well, they're both girls. So nothing changed with Lee Wen. What about that? Okay, so nothing changes with her then. Among Us. There's too many people dying here. I was drenched in sweat because of the nightmares. Now that my clothes were already wet, I decided to just go home in the rain. I walked into the heavy rain. Mother trucker. Wait, no, did she still get hit with a truck? At the last crossing, the lights had just turned from green to red. I saw two people, okay, blah blah blah. And then she gets hit by the truck again. Oh my god, they're stretching me out. Wait, hold on. The rain was so heavy that everything around me seemed blurry. I could feel the warmth on my body washing away with the rain. I was getting colder and colder. I was freezing. I struggled and took the phone out of my pocket and opened the recording app. Oh yeah, by the way, she definitely has a crush on the teacher. This time, no matter what, I had to tell him how I felt. "Mr. Wen, I think I'm dying." "It hurts really bad. I want to tell you something. The day of the exhibition was actually my birthday. I haven't celebrated my birthday for years, so thank you for the ticket." Oh my god, I really wish that I could go see the rainbow in the mountains with you. It must be beautiful. Too bad I probably can't make it anymore. I want to leave you everything I have in my apartment. There are still many boxes of chocolate milk left. Don't let them go bad, please. I really liked your sketch. I was only kidding last time. And the phone fell out of my hand, and it kept recording the sound of the rainbow. God damn. Okay. Bro. My girls are dying. Let's see. Is it just me, or does the music sound like there's someone snoring in it? I feel like I hear snoring in this music. Okay, so what's the problem with her? The cigarette? Maybe it needs to be raining? Like, I thought this went here, but this freaking umbrella doesn't do anything. Okay. So the umbrella is a problem. So her clothes should not be wet. What the hell? Okay, so clothes should not be wet. But then, like, her clothes can't be wet either. Wait, no, maybe it's the order. Hmm? No. No, okay. I thought she wasn't supposed to be wet. Blah blah blah, yeah. Oh, hold on. When I came back, both the bearded man and the guest with the hat had left. Okay. Okay, what about the girl? Are you going to the subway station? I nodded. Let me walk you there, I've got an umbrella. He showed me the umbrella in his hand and squeezed out an unnatural smile. Is that the guy at the hospital? We stood on the platform, silently waiting for the last train of the day. Another young couple was there too. The headlights of the train lit up the tunnel. I was looking at the train and didn't notice what was happening behind me. When I heard the young couple scream, the young man who'd walked me here had already laid down on the rails. Oh, the train kept running as if he wasn't even there. So she doesn't die, but she gets to witness some guy kill himself. That's great, okay. Oh my god. I only heard a muffled noise drowned out by the wind. I can't catch a break. Honestly, a part of me is getting a little tired of so much tragedy. Like, I think I should take a break from the game. I want to finish it, but like... like, the letters are getting worse. Like, they're just sadder. They're just getting worse. Okay. I thought the umbrella was a problem. Okay, maybe this one. No. Like, even like the god girl that we're playing as, she's getting nightmares because of all the letters. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. Like, I thought she was just silly, but it is actually affecting her too, and I'm like, yeah. What have I done so far? Oh my god, I got all the endings except for the best one. So that was the original one. This one, I put all of them here. This one, I took out the clothes being wet. Oh wait, the umbrella's a problem. Okay. So... maybe? Nope, the music is still playing. I heard a flush come from the restroom. The guest with the hat walked out. He walked past the new guest booth and went back to his own. He took a 9th cigarette out of his pack and put it into his mouth. Blah blah blah. This looks the same. Oh. Our eyes met, then I saw him raising his right hand with the umbrella which had been hanging from the table area. He pointed it at the guest with the hat and me. I had never suspected that the umbrella would be his weapon. The guest with the hat reached for his cigarette pack, but it was already too late. Multiple deafening gunshots erupted. Oh. Damn. And nothing happens with my girl. That's just great. Okay. What's the problem? How do I get him to have his cigarette pack? Oh my god, I got all the endings except for the right one again. Oh my god. You didn't see it earlier, but I actually one-shot... I don't know if you saw it earlier, but I one-shot one of the letters first try, and now I'm suffering again. Oh, I reset it. Whoops. Wait, did I? Oh, this is a reset. I don't get it. What's the problem? Because this one says, when I came back, both the bearded man and the guest with the hat had left. So it's a problem if they leave. Oops, I meant to click this one. Okay, so... okay, what if I get rid of the rain? I don't know if that matters. Let's do... wait, I feel like I did that earlier though. Oh wait, it's different? Oh, okay, I think this is correct. I went back to the room and hid under the blanket. Even with my eyes closed, the detergent smell still kept reminding me of where I was. I still couldn't escape those memories. In my earliest memories, my father was the only person that I could picture in my mind. He was a great painter because every painting of his is great. That is quite the sentence. He was a great painter because his paintings was great. Thanks. As far as I could remember, we had always lived in a big house. It was so big that sometimes I couldn't even find my father. When I was in elementary school, we had moved into an apartment. Father and I would often play with each other in the evenings by throwing pillows. When I was in middle school, we had moved into a single-room studio. Most of the space was occupied by his paintings. A few pieces of furniture sat in the rest of the room. We would sleep on the floor when it was bedtime. The place was so small, and many mornings I would wake up and realize I had crawled into my father's bed in the middle of the night. Life wasn't easy, but I was happy. Father began to take on more and more assignments, most of which were not in his style. He would also set up a booth in the street to paint portraits for the pedestrians. Sometimes I would fall asleep before he even returned home. We lived like this for 2 more years. And at some point I couldn't remember, Father started drinking. He spent more and more time inside and less time smiling. He would often tear up his own paintings too. Man, on that day, Father woke up early in the morning to watch a tennis game while he drank. Empty beer cans were all over the table. His stomach hadn't been doing great in the first place, the excessive drinking was not helping. I had a huge fight with him. I had never been angry in my life, and I'd never seen Father so mad either. Still, whatever he had said to me, had done to me, I should not have said what I said. I hate you, Father. Those ended up being the No! When I came home from school that day, I found the TV on the same channel as it was in the morning. A commercial was on. There were paints all over the floor, and Father was lying in the middle of them motionless. I was standing in the corner of the emergency room when I watched him cover his face with a piece of white cloth. They said there was no need for further medical assistance. Death felt so unreal to me at the time. I wasn't able to process any of it. I sat on a hospital bench in complete silence for a long time until a doctor crouched down in front of me and softly said my name. I finally cried. I cried my heart out. I love you, Father, but he couldn't hear it anymore. I woke up and I couldn't tell where I had been in my memories. The boundaries between nightmare and reality had been blurred by my tears. I sat up in the hospital bed sobbing uncontrollably. If only everything had just been a nightmare. A wrinkled blue jacket that smelled like paint was placed softly over my shoulders. He had come in without me knowing it. He didn't say anything, just quietly put his arms around me. We sat there like this until the sun came out. Okay, but I still don't approve of their relationship, by the way. Water had spilled on my clothes. The black dragon tattoo in my stomach became vaguely visible through. Also, he has stomach cancer now, so he's gonna die too. Well, maybe he won't, who knows. I was about to apologize when I noticed the umbrella in his hand. Something was not right. It was a sunny day outside. Ah, he was here for me. I jumped behind the bar, pulling out the gun Mama had hidden under me. Multiple deafening gunshots erupted outside the bar. The meticulously painted walls were littered with holes made by a shotgun. Mama was hunched over his magazine and his fake eyelashes had fallen off. No, his left eyeball still gets shot. I stood up behind the bar and aimed at the visitor. Sweat, tears, blood, and my makeup were smeared all over my face. Suddenly, I heard a flush come from the restroom. The door opened quietly and a thin silver thread flew across the air and went through the forehead of the bearded man before my bullet could. Ooh. The thread morphed into a needle and pinned itself on the daily special menu on the wall. The guest with the hat gracefully walked out of the restroom with an unlit cigarette in his mouth. He gathered his adult magazine and left, but he left a business card on the table. It had a simple design but unusual contact information on it. A few words were printed in bold on the thin white card. Zuko. Zuko? Assassin. For business, text, okay. Okay, Slay Zuko? Okay. Oh, another one, but I'm not finished with these. I really don't want to read the kid's letter. I'm not prepared for whatever tragedy he's going through now. What time is it? We can do one more letter. Let me check what this one is.
Carlos, te extraño.
Oh, it's Alicia again. Okay. Who am I most curious about? We're gonna put him. We're gonna save him for later. So it's either Officer or Alicia again. Alicia has a lot of letters. Wow. Okay. Okay. The girl. Mama didn't have any family in Hong Kong. A few regular customers and I held a funeral service in his name, but not many people. No, he died. No. There were some familiar faces though, for instance Ray. Oh. Throughout the service we had kept our distance, pretending not to know each other. People thought Mama had died because he had been accidentally caught in the crossfire between some of his customers. They lamented his bad luck. However, I knew the truth about his death. It was because of me. It was all because of me. Half a month later, I began to consider leaving this place full of nightmares and going back to Mexico. Sass? Huh? It was a famous local shopping center with an unusual name, and the prices in the center were even more unusual. Why is it red? I hadn't seen Carlos for so long, and I wanted to bring him something nice. But looking at those fancy men's coats, I couldn't help but be at a loss. It had been so many years. I didn't even know what size he would be wearing. I haven't seen a letter from Carlos in ages. I was sizing a brown coat against myself while looking in the mirror when I felt a sense of danger coming from more than one direction. The elevator at the southwestern corner, the discount department in the northwestern corner, the food cart that sold juicy beef stalls at the southeastern corner. If I were an assassin of B+ level, they were probably around C-. Still, I was outnumbered. Besides, I didn't have my dagger or gun on me since I didn't expect I would need them. Why are they all targeting my girl? I pretended to not have noticed them and slowly walked towards the security stairwell in the northeastern corner. I tried to keep close to the other shoppers. However, the security stairwell turned out not to be so secure either. The only route left was to go towards the 4th floor, which is apparently the wrong choice. They were doing some renovations on the 4th floor. Construction materials were everywhere, but there were no workers around. But then I spotted a sniper with a rifle on the roof of the building across the street. I had to scratch my plan of escaping by the window ledge. I could hear footsteps of different sizes coming from inside the stairwell, even though they were clearly trying to keep it light. I had no choice but to hide in a storage room full of cleaning supplies. I sat down on an upside-down bucket, feeling defeated. Oh my god. I really do feel like I don't breathe while I'm talking. Okay. I would always dream about the end of my life every time I went on a mission for Ray. I'd had the same kind of dream over a dozen times, therefore my current situation wasn't completely unexpected to me. Still, I felt a little choked up. I put my hand into my pocket, hoping to find a napkin. Instead, I found a wrinkled business card. The business card that was very suspicious by all standards. 9999 okay. I half-heartedly texted the message to the number, asking Assassin Zuko for help. To my surprise, I soon received a reply, albeit an automated one. This number only accepts messages in Morse code. Your message was not valid. Please edit and try again. Wow, yes. SOS. Okay. The letters were not an abbreviation, nor did they have real meaning. It was chosen simply because it was the easiest code to be set and recognized. I actually didn't know that. Hehe, that was interesting. My training did include Morse code, but I hadn't used it for a long time. Let me think. It should be ... SOS. Sent. I got another response. ADS, short for address. They wanted to know where I was. But before I could respond, the people outside had shot the storage room door full of holes. No, strange I didn't die. Every day people came in and out of the dungeon in which they were holding me. Oh, she didn't die, but they captured her. Oh no, they tortured me in various and creative ways day after day, unleashing their profound hatred. They pulled my... Oh my god. Oh, okay. Okay. Who do you work for? Oh, loyal girl. Eventually I could no longer tell who was torturing me anymore. My only regret is that I didn't have a cyanide capsule with me. However, there was this one young man named Ren who had asked me once if there was anything he could do for me during his ship. He said he would try his best to do whatever I asked except for letting me go or killing me. I thought for a while and smiled. I have a younger brother named Carlos. If you meet him someday, please be nice to him. Well, I didn't deserve to ask for forgiveness from the Heavenly Father. I was doomed to go to hell. My only wish left was that my brother could be well and happy. Morse code. That was an interesting human invention. A is... okay, I don't care. And who am I talking to? God damn. Okay, well, let's save her again. Are you fucking kidding me? Okay, hold on. Where's my dictionary? Yippee. You know what? Fuck this. I will just Google it on my phone. What am I supposed to say though? They wanted to know where I was. Oh, the name of the thing was XAS. Oh, okay, hold on. Yeah, I remember. Let me just look up Morse code really quickly. Okay, what is X? X is dot 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 dot. So long dot dot dot. A is dot dot. And then S is dot dot dot. Okay, perfect. Okay. Sauce? I don't know. It was the name of the shopping center. I wasn't really holding my breath. There was no way they could save me in time even if they wanted to. And even if they got here, there were 10 floors in the center. What do you want me to do about that? By the time they found me, I would be long dead. I was right. Okay. Then what the fuck do you want me to do? I wonder if this is a case where I have to wait before I can finish it. Maybe. Hold on. Well, now I feel like I need to do something, you know? But I'm not sure what. Whatever. I think I'm just gonna leave it like that for now. I don't know. I feel sad for her. Yeah, it's late. I think I'm just gonna call it quits for now. I think I'll stream tomorrow around the same time again, but I think I'm gonna play a different game. I will continue this at some point, but I need a break. Yeah. Oh, thank you for hanging out. Yeah, like it's not that I don't want to finish it, it's that like it's just there's a lot. And I can't believe how like worse it's getting. I guess I should be able to believe it, but like everyone's so depressing. It started off depressing and then it got more depressing, which is impressive. So I will probably play something a little more lighthearted tomorrow. Probably something short that I can finish in an hour or so. And then no stream, probably no stream on July 4 because I will be out and about. And then at night there will be fireworks so that you will probably hear that. But yeah, tomorrow again around the same time. Thanks for hanging out. Bye bye. See you next time. Yes, you too. Have a good night's sleep. Oh. Launch OBS. Okay, bye bye.